Once upon a time, there was a family who lived in a big old house in the countryside. The house had been passed down from generation to generation, and was said to be haunted by the ghosts of former residents. Despite the rumors, the family was not afraid and loved their home. One night, strange things started to happen. Doors would creak open and shut on their own, ghostly whispers could be heard in the dead of night, and strange shadows appeared in the hallway. The family tried to ignore it, thinking it was just their imagination playing tricks on them. But the strange occurrences only got worse. The ghostly apparitions became more vivid and intense, until the family was unable to ignore them any longer. They called in a team of paranormal investigators to help. The investigators found that the house was indeed haunted, and that the ghosts were seeking revenge for some wrong that had been done to them in the past. Despite their best efforts, the family was unable to rid the house of the angry spirits. They were forced to abandon their beloved home, leaving the ghosts to roam its halls forever. The house remains unoccupied to this day, a constant reminder of the chilling events that took place within its walls. Years went by and the family had long since moved on, but the story of the haunted house spread far and wide, becoming a local legend. Many people would dare each other to spend a night in the house, but no one ever lasted more than a few hours. One day, a young couple heard the story and were determined to solve the mystery once and for all. They were skeptical of the paranormal and believed that there must be a logical explanation for the strange events. So, they packed their bags and headed to the countryside to spend the night in the haunted house. At first, everything was quiet and still. But as the night wore on, the couple began to hear strange noises and see ghostly apparitions. Despite their determination to stay, they were soon overwhelmed by the sheer terror of the experience. They fled from the house, never to return again. The legend of the haunted house lives on to this day, and many still venture to the countryside to see if they can unravel its secrets. But be warned, for those who enter the house may never come back, lost forever to the ghostly inhabitants who haunt its halls. Years later, a young girl, who was the descendant of the original family, heard the story and became obsessed with the idea of uncovering the truth about the haunted house. She was determined to find out what had happened to her ancestors and why the ghosts were still haunting the house. She did extensive research and found an old diary belonging to one of the former residents. The diary revealed that the house was built on sacred Native American land and the spirits were the angry ghosts of the indigenous people who had been wronged. The young girl went to the haunted house, armed with the knowledge from the diary, and performed a ritual to appease the spirits. To her surprise, the ghostly apparitions disappeared, and the house was finally at peace. From that day on, the haunted house was no longer feared and people were able to visit it without fear. The young girl became known as the one who had solved the mystery and brought peace to the spirits that had been haunting the house for so many years. As time went by, the young girl became famous for her bravery and her ability to communicate with the dead. She continued to help families and communities with haunted houses, and she became known as the Ghost Whisperer. People from all over the world would seek her out to help them with their haunted houses. Her reputation grew, and she became the go-to person for those in need of paranormal assistance. Despite her success, the young girl never forgot the haunted house that had started it all. She would visit the house every year, on the anniversary of the day she had solved the mystery, to pay her respects to the spirits who had once haunted its halls. And so, the story of the haunted house, the young girl, and the ghostly apparitions that once roamed its halls, lives on to this day, a testament to the power of bravery and the determination to uncover the truth, no matter how frightening it may be. As the young girl continued her work as the Ghost Whisperer, she soon realized that there were darker forces at play. Some of the haunted houses she encountered were not just haunted by angry spirits, but by malevolent entities that had a thirst for power and a desire to harm the living. Despite the danger, the young girl was determined to help those in need, and she continued to venture into the most haunted and terrifying places, facing her fears head-on. One day, she was called to a remote mansion, where strange things were happening. At first, everything seemed normal, but as she explored the house, she noticed that the temperature was dropping rapidly, and she could hear ghostly whispers and footsteps coming from the darkness. As she delved deeper into the house, she encountered a powerful entity that was using the spirits of the dead to gain power. The entity was angry and vengeful, and it was determined to stop the young girl from interfering with its plans. The young girl was no match for the entity, and it began to torment and terrorize her. Despite her bravery, she was unable to escape the house, and she was trapped there, at the mercy of the entity. Days turned into weeks, and the young girl was slowly losing her mind, trapped in the haunted house, with no hope of escape. But just when she thought all was lost, she remembered the diary she had found, and the ritual she had performed to appease the spirits. She closed her eyes, summoned all her courage, and performed the ritual once more. To her relief, the entity disappeared, and the house was finally at peace. The young girl was able to escape the house and tell her story, but she was never the same again. The experience had changed her, and she was haunted by the memory of the entity and the house, for the rest of her days. As the young girl continued her work, she encountered more and more haunted houses that were being controlled by powerful entities. Despite the danger, she refused to back down and continued to face these entities head-on. She trained herself in the art of exorcism and honed her skills in communicating with the dead, determined to protect the living from the evil that lurked in the shadows. But the entities were powerful and cunning, and they would stop at nothing to gain control of the haunted houses and the spirits within. The young girl found herself in a constant battle, fighting to protect the innocent and banish the evil that threatened to destroy everything she held dear. Despite the danger, she never wavered in her determination to protect the innocent and bring peace to the spirits that were trapped in haunted houses. She became known as the Ghost Slayer, and people all over the world sought her out for help. But the entities were relentless, and they were determined to defeat the young girl and take control of the haunted houses. The young girl knew that she could not fight these entities alone, and she sought out other brave souls to join her in her quest. Together, they formed a team of Ghost Slayers, and they traveled the world, fighting against the entities and freeing the spirits that were trapped in haunted houses. Their bravery and determination inspired others, and the fight against the evil entities became a global movement. And so, the young girl, who had once been afraid of the dark, became a beacon of hope and courage, leading the charge against the entities that threatened the living and the dead. Years went by, and the young girl and her team of Ghost Slayers continued their fight against the entities that threatened the living and the dead. They encountered many challenges and faced many dangers, but they never wavered in their determination to protect the innocent. One day, the young girl received a mysterious letter, inviting her to a remote mansion in the countryside. The letter was signed simply, "A friend." Curious and intrigued, the young girl set out for the mansion, accompanied by a few of her closest allies. When they arrived, they found the mansion to be just as described in the letter, and they soon discovered that it was haunted by a powerful entity that threatened the entire world. Despite the danger, the young girl and her team were determined to banish the entity and save the world from its wrath. They ventured into the mansion, ready to face whatever horrors lay ahead. But as they delved deeper into the mansion, they discovered a shocking truth: the entity was not their enemy, but their ally. The entity had been trying to protect the world from an even greater evil, one that threatened to destroy everything. The young girl and her team were faced with a difficult decision: should they banish the entity and risk unleashing the greater evil, or should they join forces with the entity and fight against the common enemy? The decision they made would change the world forever. But the details of that decision and the outcome of that fateful battle remain a mystery to this day. And so, the story of the young girl and her team of Ghost Slayers lives on, a testament to the power of bravery, determination, and the unbreakable spirit of the human soul.